Guys, I'm gonna be completely honest with you right now. I'm not wearing pants. I am just sitting down with you guys to talk about life. Because what else do I do on this channel? What the hell else do I do on this channel except sit and talk with you guys? I literally just took a shower, didn't even care to put pants on. My husband is cooking me dinner, and when this video goes up, my 20th birthday will be tomorrow. So it's Sunday, my birthday is Monday, June 15th. So that makes me 20 years old. I was born in the year 2000. Not much has changed, but they lived underwater. You guys know that song? I feel weird because I won't be a teenager anymore. Like, I'll have lived 20 years of life on this earth, which is super weird to me, but it also makes sense. I don't know, guys. I feel like my life has been extremely long and extremely short at the same time. I feel like some of you probably relate to that. Oh, God, there's so many things I could say in this video about things I've learned coming into my 20s. I narrowed it down to 20 things that I learned before I turned 20. So I'm gonna say those things right now, and I'm just gonna get into it because I don't want to give too long of an intro because I don't want this video to be 100 hours long. So I kind of wrote them down in age order, I guess. So they start with younger age and then they go to like teenage age, and the last ones are more relevant to my life right now. So just buckle up, hold on, your age group will be in here somewhere most likely. I think looking back, the biggest thing that I learned, unfortunately was not something I was entirely in control of, is to be a child when you are a child. I think that nowadays, it's kind of scary, and I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, kids are so grown up these days. But I'm gonna say that kids are growing up really fast right now. I had that experience in a different way. I think nowadays kids are growing up really fast because of like TikTok and the internet, and people date really early and they're all like doing drugs and drinking and like doing crazy stuff. It's like really weird. But for me, I grew up really fast because, as I kind of said in my last video, I was in a band when I was 10 years old. So I did not really have the chance to be a child very much. For any kids out there watching me, I just want to encourage you guys to be children and to not try and rush your growing up and think that you need to get to your teenage years or your adult years so quickly and like, oh, I just wish middle school would end or whatever, because it's gonna end, and it's gonna end really fast, and before you know it, you're going to be 20 years old and you're gonna be looking back like, wow, my childhood was very short. So I guess just soaking that up is something I definitely learned. The next biggest lesson I learned as a kid / like young teenager was, if a boy doesn't talk to you, he probably doesn't like you. I think that I've gotten it across at this point through all my videos that I really, really liked boys who didn't like me growing up. So I definitely learned the lesson. It took me a few years, but I learned it good and well, that if somebody isn't texting you back, if somebody isn't messaging you on Facebook or whatever, they probably don't like you, and that's that. I'm not gonna even go into it anymore. That's that. They probably don't like you. Okay, number 3 just says, don't be friends with shitty people. So that's pretty straightforward, but sometimes in the moment it's really hard to tell. When I was a teenager, I had a lot of really weird, terrible friendships, and in the moment, I didn't really get that they were weird. I didn't get that these people were mean to me, or that they were bad bad influences, or that they were like making me different. But getting out of the friendships and looking back on them, you're like, oh, I get that now. So I kind of wish that in the moment I knew that if somebody isn't like the best friend ever, you don't have to be friends with them. Like, you don't have to choose to hang out with people who make you feel kind of weird just because you don't have other friends. Don't be friends with people who are crappy, who make you feel bad about yourself, who talk about you behind your back, who lead you in ways you don't want to go. I know that sometimes there's limited options for friends, but sometimes it's better to be alone. And that leads me into my next lesson, which is sometimes it's better to be alone. I think that as I got out of my crappier friendships as a teenager, I definitely felt alone a lot. Or when boys stopped talking to me, I felt very much alone. And looking back, I think that it was really good for me to be alone sometimes. I think sometimes life gets really busy and you can't really tell what's happening in the moment, so you need to just like sit back and be alone. And whether that means leaving a friendship or leaving a relationship or having those people leave you, like sometimes it feels like the end of the world and you don't want to be alone, and it can be very sad to be alone, but I think that sometimes it's better to be alone. So there's that. Lesson number 5 is simply this: don't hook up with people. LOL. I wrote that down. Guys, I know that when you get into your 20s, sometimes people want to go a little crazy, and that's like, I don't care if you do that. That's fine. But as a young teenager, there is a big pressure and sometimes want to just hook up with people, random people you don't know, or people you have barely known, or people you just started dating or whatever. It's not to say that it's bad to like people or to have relationships or whatever. I'm just trying to say that when I was a teenager and I hooked up with random people, it made me feel horrible about myself. It just made me feel less valuable. It certainly doesn't make you feel good when, let's just say, a boy uses you for a few hours and then kind of discards you like a piece of garbage. When they don't text you anymore, when they don't Snapchat you anymore, like when things just kind of fizzle out after they like get what they wanted out of you, that doesn't feel so good. And that's what I mean by like, just don't do that. Like, just don't give that experience to someone who doesn't value it and doesn't value you and just sees you as an exciting time in the middle of the night. That is a really, really, really big lesson that I learned the hard way. It's generally just devaluing, especially as teenagers. I think when you get older, maybe things can be a little bit different, I don't know, but just in high school, I know that it's very common and that kind of sucks. So, all right, lesson number 6 is don't text and drive. This is such a slogan that everybody says, but I know it's for a reason now because I've gotten in so many car accidents, guys. Luckily, I've never been in like a bad car accident where I got hurt or hurt anyone else, but I have crashed a couple cars and I got in those accidents because I was on my phone or I wasn't paying attention or I was texting or whatever. And guys, I just want to say, I can't stress this enough. Please don't text and drive. I still am pretty bad about this. Like, I'm still working on not going on my phone while driving, but looking back, I was on my phone an absurd amount while driving, like doing the most while driving a vehicle. And that is just so scary. So please don't do that because you can really hurt yourself or hurt someone else, and that is not ideal. Number 7 is be yourself. I went through a lot of phases in my teenage years. I went through a lot of times where I didn't know who I was, or I was changing myself for other people, and I was like, I hope this boy likes me, I hope these friends like me, let me like alter myself a little bit, because I am someone who is very multifaceted. So I have different parts of my personality. I have different talents. I have different things that I like, things that I dislike. I can kind of turn off and on parts of me as I please based on who I'm around. You know, I think most of us have that ability. Like when you're around certain people, you're the funny girl and you make jokes and you're loud and whatever. And when you're around other people, you're quiet and you are so chill and you listen to indie or whatever. That's just a thing that I've done my whole life. I definitely struggled a lot with just being myself as a kid, as a teenager. Like I really felt the pressure from people I was around me, like this unspoken pressure to be something, whatever it was, whether it was prettier or funnier or louder or quieter or whatever. And I changed myself a lot. I guess I just want to tell you guys it's not worth it. Like we all have very unique personalities that we were given, and we need to just be those, because there's a place in this world for all of us. There's a friend group for all of us. There are people who like you for you, and you don't have to be something else just because you feel bad about it. The next one is be accepting. I grew up a really judgmental person. I grew up someone who was like, she's wearing that, she doesn't look good, they believe that, they are not going to heaven. I just kind of grew up a judgmental person, guys, and a negative person. I definitely had a lot of tendencies to be judgmental of people I didn't know or people I did know. Like, I think especially as the internet exists and people post their personal lives and everyone is able to be scrutinized by everybody else, it's very, very easy to be like, they're not fitting my box. I don't like that. I'm gonna make a comment about them. I'm gonna talk about them to my friends. I'm gonna gossip about them. I'm gonna tear them down, whatever. It's super common. It's super easy, and it honestly makes us feel good about ourselves because we're like putting ourselves above someone else. So I guess with this point, I'm just trying to say, like, don't talk about people. You don't have to talk about someone else's life. You don't have to gossip about other people. Think about it. What does it do for you? Like, what did it do for me to like discuss someone else's personal life and like, ooh, she could be doing this better? Like, I just didn't need to be doing that. Now, I'm not saying that I never do that because, guys, it's human nature. What is that song? Michael Jackson? I don't know how it goes. It's human nature. I just made up a melody. I think that it's best for our souls and honestly for other people to just don't talk about it. Like, if you're talking with your friends and you guys are gossiping about someone else or you're putting someone else down, just be like, hey guys, can we talk about something else? Actually, I don't really want to talk about her anymore, you know? The next thing is be intentional. Something I really learned is just to be intentional with my days and with my time and who I spend my time around, who I am being as a person, like how I'm acting, how I'm coming off to people. Like, how are you living a life that makes you happy and proud to live that life, not just a life that you are supposed to live because you have this routine or whatever. Does that make sense? The next one, and honestly one of the biggest, most important lessons I have learned in my entire life, is it's not that deep. It's just not that deep. I used to get broken up with or lose a friend or have some drama within my family or within my friends or whatever it is. I would go through something and I would think it was the end of the world. And I think what I learned from going through so many hard times in my life is just that it's not that deep most of the time. Sometimes, sure, there are times when it is that deep and you need to take some time for yourself and you need to pay attention and go, okay, I'm gonna work through this, I'm gonna get through this, I'm gonna go to therapy, whatever it is. Like, there are some really bad things that happen that are that deep, but generally, like, the dramatic things that happen in our lives are just not that big of a deal. Like, you can kind of just skate on. Like, if somebody offends you, or if you get in a fight with someone, or if something happens that you didn't plan for and your life suddenly takes a shift, like, it's not that big of a deal. We are just people on a floating rock in the universe, and we have a God, I believe, up there that's controlling everything we're doing, and we don't have any control over anything that's going on. So if we were to think about every little thing that goes wrong and be so sad about everything, or think so much about everything all the time, you would go crazy. Like, we would be so out of our minds if we didn't just move on, you know? I would say 9 out of 10 times, whatever is going on is gonna pass in a couple days. You're gonna forget about it. They're gonna forget about it. It's not gonna be that big of a deal. You're just going to adjust and move on. Sometimes it's better to just move on than to dwell on the past. That's all. Just move on. It's not that deep. Number 11, guys, my fingers are so tiny, is get a dog. Get a freaking dog. Guys, I got my first dog ever early this year, and it has been the best decision of my entire life. Now, granted, I do live with my husband, so I have him to help me raise him and take care of him, so it's easier. But having just a dog in my house to hang out with and to love and to care for and to take my mind off of myself and like put my attention into another living being is so awesome. Like, it's so rewarding, and seeing him grow up and become trained and like learn everything about the world, it has just been so amazing for my life, and I think everyone needs a dog. Number 12 is just take a risk. Take a freaking risk, dude. Oh my God, I spent so much time in my life being scared and anxious of doing something that was risky or something that people didn't want me to do, and I just wasted a lot of time. There are just so many things that I should have done that I didn't do because it was too risky or too scary, or I was too nervous to rock the boat or whatever, and I just should have done it. I should have gone for it. Like, now that I've experienced what it's like to do something scary and to go to the other side where you've already done it, you've already felt the fear and did it anyway. Like, I'm sitting here 20 years old. I'm a married woman, guys. It's so weird. I think of how people see me, like how my old friends must see me, my old boyfriends must see me. Like, it's probably so weird. Like, she got married, what the heck? But now I'm on the other side of that, and I'm like, you know what? I just don't care. Like, if anybody thinks I'm weird, I just don't care, because I'm so happy with my choice. Like, I'm so pleased with my decision to marry my husband. That's just an example I'm using, that I just don't care. So I'm encouraging you guys, if there's something in your life that you're scared to do because you think people are going to judge you or it's not normal or whatever, just do it. I think that honestly, humans were made for taking risks. We were made for doing something that is scary and getting through it. That is a huge, huge, huge lesson that I learned. The next one goes along with that, and it is go against what people want. If you intuitively want to make a decision for your life that other people have been telling you not to make, but you know it's right for you and you feel it's right for you, then you need to do it. Like, you have to. If we were to live our lives according to what other people wanted for us, where would we be? Like, who would I be if I just listened to what everybody said about me? What would you be if you just listened to what everybody said or what everybody wanted for you? Sure, sometimes what people want for us is right, but generally we know ourselves best and we know what we want for our lives best. Sometimes it sucks when it's those people closest to you who don't want you to do something that you really want to do, but just because they're close to you doesn't mean they're right. Just because they're close to you doesn't mean they know you better than you know yourself. That's all. Number 14 is learn to cook, because I love cooking now. And when I was growing up, I didn't learn to cook. I didn't really think about it when I was a teenager. Even when I moved out for the first time by myself, like, I didn't really learn to cook. But now I'm learning, and it's so fun and it's so great getting to make myself meals. So guys, learn to cook. Teach yourself, get someone else to teach you, use the internet, just do it. It's great. Number 15 is that your career does not have to be just one thing. Leaving the band that I was in and figuring out what I was doing was one of the scariest things I've ever done in my entire life, because not only Was I leaving something that I did for 10 years that was a stable job and that was very reliable and something that I had done for a super long time and that everyone expected me to do whatever, but like I was also in front of millions of people saying, hey, I don't want to do this, I want to try something else. And I had the possibility of doing it and then failing and falling on my ass and making a terrible decision. So it was really, really scary trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Like when I initially made the announcement video, I was like, I want to be a graphic designer or whatever. There were a lot of things passed around that I wanted to be. And I think that I was desperately trying to put a label on it because I just wanted people to believe in me. Like, I'm leaving this good thing, but I promise I have something else waiting for me. But I think what I've learned is that you don't have to have just one thing. I currently am a YouTuber, but I'm also a designer and I'm also an environmentalist. And I would like to do that as a career at some point in my life. I'm also in the process of learning to code and be a developer. Like there are so many things that I want to do in life. And I just knew I didn't want to be a musician. Like I knew that was not my thing. That doesn't mean that I have to know what it is. I just knew what it wasn't, and that's okay. For a while, I limited myself. Like I didn't want to make YouTube videos because I was like, oh, like I left this YouTube channel, like I can't make YouTube videos, like that sucks. People will think that I, whatever. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just like doing this. I like sitting and talking to you guys. That's fun for me. And it's very different than what I was doing before, and that's okay. And I also like designing, and I also like the environment, and there's all these kinds of things that I like. So I think that for you guys, it's very much a thing in a late teens life to be like, what am I gonna be? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna go to college for? Like, I gotta pick a career. And that's cool if you have one career that you are just set on. Like you are so lucky to just know what you wanna do. But if you don't know what you wanna do, that's okay. Number one, you can figure it out. And number two, it could be a combination of multiple things. It's just about what makes you happy. It is about what is going to bring you the most joy in your life. Not just what's gonna satisfy your bank account or what's gonna get you the house that you want or what's gonna make you look good. Like that's my message, guys. It's okay to be multiple things, and it's okay to not just have one career that you wanna do. Adding on to that, number 16 is it's okay to switch paths. It's okay if you start doing a career or you start going to school for something or you start learning something and you don't like it anymore. That's okay. It's totally fine. Throughout life, hopefully we have lots of years on this earth and hopefully we have lots of time to do the things we want to do. So it's okay if your path is kind of like this and it's kind of up and down and it's confusing and you're like, oh, I want to be a doctor. No, never mind. I actually kind of want to be a nurse, or I kind of want to be this kind of nurse, or actually I don't want to work in a hospital at all. I actually want to be a psychologist, or whatever it is. Like it is so okay and honestly exciting to change careers, to take a risk, like I said earlier, to change your career, to make a difference and do what you like. Just do what makes you happy, guys. And it's okay if that means leaving something behind. That is okay, and it's actually awesome, probably. The next one is to educate yourself. This is honestly something I'm learning in the past year. We have a world that's pretty crazy, especially right now. So it's very important that you understand what's going on and you learn about politics and race and gender and, oh my God, the environment. It's so important to learn about that. Like, we are human beings on an earth, and while we are not really in control of what goes on, we're in control of the impact that we make on this earth. Whether that is a physical impact regarding the environment or just an emotional, mental impact regarding other people and how you treat people. So it's very important to educate yourself and learn about different things so that you can be an informed citizen and make the right choices. That's all. Okay guys, I have a couple more. Number 18 is that people aren't perfect. And I think I was taught this lesson. Actually, I think I was smacked with this lesson as I started dating my husband, Emmyn, because he suffers from really, really bad OCD and anxiety. And I never knew what it was like. I never knew how to deal with it or how to help. And I still am struggling to learn about it, guys. It's still something I deal with every day and that he deals with every single day. And the biggest thing that I learned from being married to someone with those issues is that when you get into a marriage, when you get into a relationship, people have big issues. People need your help. Your partner needs your help. They need your support. They need you to learn intuitively and passionately and intentionally about who they are and what's wrong with them and how you can help them. So if you get into a relationship with someone or you become friends with someone and they aren't perfect, shocker, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be with them. It doesn't mean you shouldn't hang out with them or be friends with them. It could just mean that you were sent to their life. God put you guys together to help them out. not to save them or to fix them, because honestly guys, my husband's OCD and anxiety is realistically never going to go away. He's just gonna learn how to deal with it. And I'm never going to be a therapist who's gonna sit down with him and teach him how to deal with it. I have no clue how to deal with it. I'm just trying to do my best to learn. Emmyn acknowledges my problems and he learns how he can best react and deal with my problems. Do either one of us know how to do this perfectly? No, of course not. We're just people, but we're trying every day and that's what matters. So there's that. The next one, second to last, is to invest in yourself. I know that sounds kind of silly, but we all have a future, hopefully, and we have bodies and we have homes and we have future children or whatever it is for you that we need to take care of. So whether that means working out or eating healthy or treating yourself well mentally, emotionally, physically, getting into better relationships, I just mean like you need to spend time and effort on yourself. Do your laundry. Buy yourself some healthy food. Spend a little bit more money on that and a little bit less money on something else. Work on your relationships. Pay attention to your partner, to your friends, whatever it is. Like just invest time in growing and getting better and it will pay you back. The very last, the final lesson I've learned going into my 20th year is that life goes on. It just goes on. Like assuming you don't die, we have seasons of really bad times and we have things that we think we're never gonna get through and we have moments that we regret and people who we wish we never came in contact with, and life just kind of goes on. We move on. Things get better, things get worse. We're not really in control of it. So since life is just going on, all we can do is try our best to be good people, to treat each other well, to treat the earth well, to learn, to grow, to be in relationships with people who treat us well and respect us well. But that's all we can do. Like life kind of just goes on. That's all I have to say on that, guys. That's really it. It's super weird I'm turning 20. It's super weird I'm married and I'm turning 20. I don't know guys, my life has not gone the way I thought it was gonna go, especially in the past year. Like I did not ever expect that I was gonna make the decisions that I have made, but that it happened and I love it. I love the way my life is right now. So I hope you guys love this video. I love talking to you guys. I probably need to do something else in my videos because I feel like this is all I do. But if you have any ideas or something you want to see in my videos, comment down below. I really want to have Emmyn on my channel. We obviously have a couples channel together, but I do want to do a video featuring him. So if there's something you want to see Emmyn do or talk about or whatever on this channel, comment below and let me know. And make sure you subscribe to Emmyn's 2 channels. He has a music channel and he has just a personal channel, and they're both so great and funny, and he's so talented and he's just amazing. So subscribe to him. Subscribe to my channel with him, Dani and Emmyn. And that's kind of it, guys. If you have anything that you have learned in your years of living that you want to share, comment below, share it with the class. I love to have my comments as like a little discussion and hangout section, so do that. And I hope that you guys learned something. I hope that something touched you or was close to your heart today, and I hope that you guys have a good day and a good rest of your life. All right, goodbye.